This video is about the secrets of longevity and healthy living of a centennial monk called the Healing Monk. Over several minutes, the monk, Salvador, will reveal his tricks and tips to live more than 100 years with energy and to the full. You would like to know what they are. The 5 main habits that Salvador has practiced daily for 80 years, allowing him to enjoy so much vitality at his age. You want to discover the simple routine to follow to stay strong as an oak both physically and mentally. This compassionate monk will reveal exclusive keys that will help you, too, to enjoy exceptional longevity. The Healing Monk assures that current medical science is wrong to focus only on treating diseases and that true health comes from activating our intrinsic self-healing potential through simple but powerful daily habits. And you are willing to question what you think you know about longevity to open yourself to this almost secret knowledge on how to live many years in optimal condition. The monk is about to reveal his 5 most precious jewels. Don't miss them. My name is the Healing Monk, or at least that's what they call me, and I am a monk who has had the fortune of living more than 100 years in a state of profound happiness and health. When I was young, I never imagined that I would reach this revered age. But over the decades, I learned and adopted certain routines and lifestyle habits that have allowed me to maintain not only a strong and capable body but also a spirit full of light. The first habit that I would mention, and perhaps the most important, has been to eat a diet based on natural and unprocessed products. Since I was 20 years old, I adopted a vegetarian diet, avoiding meats and replacing them with legumes, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. I also eliminated all refined products such as white sugar, white flour, and processed oils that are usually very harmful to the body. Instead, I focused on eating a lot of quantity of vegetables during the day, both raw in salads and lightly sautéed or steamed to better preserve their properties. Green leafy vegetables such as spinach, lettuce, broccoli, or chard, as well as orange vegetables rich in beta-carotene such as carrots or pumpkin. They were always on my plate. I was also careful to combine different groups of vegetables to obtain different nutrients and enzymes that favor the absorption of these compounds in the body. The cereals I consumed were only whole grains, trying to avoid as much as possible the refined ones that lack fiber and most of its nutrients. Brown rice, whole grain breads, quinoa, oats, these were the basis of my diet along with legumes, another essential source of vegetable proteins. Chickpeas, lentils, beans, soybeans cooked in different sunny ways were a great protein complement. The fruit was also very present in my diet. In addition to eating several pieces of fresh fruit daily, I took advantage of the abundant seasonal fruit from our orchards to prepare juices, smoothies, compotes, jams, and even delicious and nutritious ice creams with only the fruit and some soy yogurt or cashew drink. Nuts and seeds rich in healthy fatty acids and vitamins such as E were another basic element. Walnuts, cashews, almonds, pumpkin, or sunflower seeds. I always had an assortment on hand for any craving outside of meals. Dairy products, given my principles and philosophy of life, were completely banished. But this was not a problem since there are vegetable alternatives that are just as valid and nutritious. Oatmeal drinks, rice, almonds, soy, cashews, yogurts, and cheeses made with these same ingredients provided me with calcium and protein without the need to consume products of animal origin. The key point of this diet that has given me such good results is to completely eliminate ultra-processed products, junk food, industrial pastries, pre-cooked soft drinks, etc. If you don't recognize an ingredient or can't pronounce it, chances are you shouldn't be eating it. Instead of all that, I return to the simplicity of integral ingredients coming directly from nature, mostly from our own organic gardens or from local suppliers also committed to sustainable agriculture and livestock. We do not need large companies to feed us. The earth gives us everything we need. Eating healthy requires a little more time and effort since you have to cook at home and be constant in buying fresh products, but believe me when I tell you that it is very worth it. I have been following this philosophy of conscious eating for decades, and the fruits have been ironclad health. Despite my advanced age, I could say that I feel even stronger and full of energy than in my younger years. Of course, good nutrition must be complemented with other healthy habits that are essential in the search for a long, full life. I will talk about them in the following points, but the truth is that without proper nutrition, we would be building on quicksand. No matter how much we take care of other aspects, remember that we are what we eat. If we want this physical machine to function correctly for more than a century, it is crucial to give it the right fuel. I opted for vegetables, fruits, cereals, and whole legumes. This has been the master key to my conscious longevity. I invite you to try it too if you want to see the results. Eat healthy and live for many years to do good. I continue to share the secrets that have allowed me to enjoy a long life full of joy and good health. In the first point, I already talked about the crucial importance of a good diet based on whole vegetables, fruits, cereals, legumes, nuts, and seeds. The second fundamental pillar for me has been waiting before revealing this second secret. I invite you to subscribe to my channel and leave us your like as a token of gratitude, since it took me a lot to analyze so many habits to choose in the end, leaving only the best 5. I could tell you that I have been all night analyzing all the habits of my life before settling on these best 5. Now, yes, the second secret fundamental pillar, the daily cultivation of meditation and contemplation. From a very young age, I felt an inclination for the spiritual life and the search for transcendental answers. I was always a reflective child who liked to spend time alone in the middle of nature. When I turned 19, I made the decision to join a Buddhist monastery in the mountains to delve deeper into the teachings of Buddha and lead a more conscious existence away from the distractions of the world. One of the practices that resonated most with me was meditation. At the beginning, it took a lot to try to quiet that hyperactive and capricious mind, always wandering from one thought to another without rest or purpose. But little by little, with a lot of discipline, patience, and perseverance, I was experiencing states of mental stillness that were increasingly deeper and filled me with peace, clarity, and interior vision. From the first years in the monastery until today, meditation has become the most ingrained and unbreakable habit of my daily routine. Whether winter or summer, rain or shine, no matter how I feel when I wake up, the first thing I do after sleep and breakfast is to sit in the lotus position on my favorite cushion and dedicate at least an hour to the practice of samadhi meditation. Serene at first, my mind put up a lot of resistance. It was difficult to remain still, observing the breath without the thoughts dragging me into their incessant whirlwind. But now I can say that meditation is like second nature to me. Spending an hour still and attentive to the simple act of breathing has become the most joyful and restorative activity that exists. I usually meditate in a small cave near my cabin that has the most serene and crystalline energy that I have ever felt. There, in total silence and in communion with Mother Earth, I can expand my consciousness beyond the limited physical senses and glimpse a few tiny crumbs of the infinite wisdom of the cosmos. The visions and revelations that have been granted to me in that sacred space have no possible comparison with any other worldly experience. Thus, throughout more than 8 decades of constant practice of meditation and quiet contemplation, I have been able to heal old emotional wounds, extraordinarily enhance my mental faculties of clarity, intuition, creativity, and memory, generate imperturbable equanimity in the face of the inevitable ups and downs of life, and above all, reaching unfathomable oceans of peace, bliss, and spiritual fulfillment. My psyche and spirit have been so nourished, integrated, and vitalized thanks to so many years of meditative dedication that this has undoubtedly been reflected in a body physically still strong and agile despite my advanced age. And we cannot forget that everything is interconnected. If we manage to quiet the mental and find peace in the spiritual, also the physiological dimension will be favored with better health and longevity. So, if you are interested in cultivating inner wisdom and expanding the limits of your consciousness, as well as promoting a prolonged existence and health, make meditation an unbreakable daily habit. It is not necessary to be a monk or have a lot of free time. Just sit still for 20 to 30 minutes, observing your breathing and repeating it every day. You will begin to notice its extraordinary benefits as the weeks and months go by. Meditation connects us with our immortal essence and reminds us that we are not this perishable body but eternal consciousness enjoying a temporary experience in the physical dimension. When the interior is released, layer after layer, the dust of the egoic mind, the truth will reveal itself in all its absolute and dazzling glory. Everything we needed, we already carried within us. I said before that thanks to so many years of constant dedication to meditation, I have reaped countless and ineffable fruits on a spiritual, mental, and also physical level. Let's not forget that everything is interconnected. I would now like to delve deeper into some of the numerous benefits that I have been able to see in myself after this daily discipline, as I believe that this will encourage many of you to incorporate meditation as a lasting habit. First of all, on a spiritual level, meditation has allowed me to transcend the exclusive identification with the ego, with the thinking mind, and the limited idea I had of myself, to connect with infinitely broader and more ethereal dimensions of consciousness. Although at the beginning of the practice, my focus was on quieting the mental chatter, when I was able to transcend it and stop identifying with it, I was able to glimpse that I am not those thoughts or emotions but the pure consciousness in which that mental content manifests itself. For ephemeral but sublime moments, I managed to transcend the borders of individuality and merge with the cosmic consciousness that permeates everything. The veil of duality is removed, and I can savor moments of non-duality in which subject and object, I and the rest, observer and observation, are revealed as the same essence, indivisible consciousness, the element of which everything is made. This oceanic experience of transcendental unity is usually accompanied by very intense states of said peace and inner wisdom, very difficult to explain with words. They are glimpses of the unfathomable mystery that we are, fleeting glimpses of our authentic nature beyond time and forms. Another great fruit of decades of meditating has been an extraordinary expansion of my intuition and clairvoyance. Thanks to the mental stilling and the consequent expansion of consciousness, my ability to know things without having to think about them or deduce things through logic has been greatly sharpened. My intuition takes priority now over discursive reasoning and very rarely makes mistakes. In the same way, thanks to the constant practice of samadhi, I have awakened subtle clairvoyant faculties that were previously totally dormant. I usually carry out my meditations in a mountainous cave of great energy power known as the Retreat of the Golden Eagle. When I go deep enough into states of elevated meditation within the cave, I am sometimes able to perceive future events, diagnose illnesses in other people, communicate with beings of light and guardian angels, receive cosmic energy channeled through me, or even perform miraculous healings. All of this may sound difficult to believe for someone who has not experienced such phenomena, but I assure you on my honor that they are more real than any physical event. Everyone has the latent ability to develop these cities or extraordinary faculties. All that is required is persevering dedication to the task, mental training through meditation to expand the usual limits of sensory perception, and activate the mystical potential of the pineal gland, also known as the third eye. Another aspect in which meditative practice has radically transformed me is in my relationship with emotions and mood management. Stress. Thanks to so many years impartially observing the incessant flow of thought and emotions without judging them or becoming attached to them, I have managed to achieve an unbreakable state of equanimity and emotional composure in the face of any adverse forecast. Nothing that happens outside or inside me is capable of disturbing me or taking me out of center. The thoughts and feelings continue to manifest, of course, but I observe them like passing clouds crossing the clear sky of my spirit without identifying with them. I do not react mechanically, but rather I consciously choose how to respond to each situation with understanding, wisdom, and, above all, unconditional love. When you manage to transcend the conditioned mind, understanding deeply through your being that everything is interconnected and that there is no subject-object duality or absolute sense of evil or good, but rather different degrees of spiritual ignorance, you can no longer hold a grudge against anyone. Responding to evil with more evil, my greatest blessing and joy is being able to look at all beings with the eyes of unconditional love, just as a mother looks at her child. Buddha said that pain or suffering always derives from the ignorance of not seeing reality as it is, which is. Well, thanks to so many years of introspective meditation, I have gradually awakened and am now fully aware of the impermanence of all things, of the essential unity that we share, and that we all, without exception, long for joy and fear pain. Therefore, no one should judge or harm anyone. So, meditation has brought me glorious fruits, absolute equanimity in the face of the polarities of life, an unbreakable inner serenity, the total absence of stress, and unconditional universal love towards all beings without any distinction. All thanks to discerning deeply the truth behind the illusory appearances that separate us. I could go on listing many other benefits that I have reaped in all these years of faithful meditative practice, but summarizing, I would say that the main ones have been expansion of consciousness beyond the ego, glimpses of non-dual unity, extraordinary expansion of intuition and clairvoyance, full control of emotions, absence of stress, and unconditional universal love. All these achievements on the mental and spiritual level have inevitably also translated into significant improvements in physical health and longevity. My immune system has been greatly strengthened to the point that practically decades pass between a mild cold. I do not suffer from pain or illness of any kind, and although I am physically over 100 years old, my vitality and energy are far superior to most people of 20 or 30 years old. This is not a product of luck or of genetics, but a natural reflection of a lifetime of deep dedication to the expansion of consciousness through powerful techniques such as meditation and the systematic cultivation of equanimity in the face of adversity. When you manage to quiet the ego mind, your spirit is elevated and harmonized, and the body continues. Consequently, this superior rhythm of energetic vibration. For all this, for the extraordinary benefits reaped during more than 8 decades of meditating daily without fail, I can only strongly encourage you to also adopt this sacred discipline and give it the importance it deserves in your life. It is not necessary to be a monk or have too much time. With only 20 or 30 minutes a day, you will notice significant improvements as the weeks go by. The ideal is to establish a fixed and isolated space where you can meditate without distractions from mobile phones, televisions, or other people. Even better if it is in direct contact with nature. Sit with your back straight in silence, closing your eyes and concentrating detachedly on your breathing. Inhale, exhale, without trying to modify it. Just observing it as it is, accepting it with loving presence. When I notice that the mind wanders in thoughts or emotions, it does not afflict you. Nor tension is completely normal. With infinite patience and perseverance, mental resumptions will be increasingly prolonged until completely quiet, and that is when the magic happens. So, as a second key pillar in my blissful longevity, daily meditation has turned out to be absolutely crucial and priceless. Through it, she has expanded my consciousness, awakening intuitions beyond the senses and opening my heart to unconditional love, all of which has been reflected in excellent comprehensive health for more than 100 years and in a serene inner joy that no longer depends on external factors. You also wish to live many years with fullness, joy, and growing wisdom. Meditate, meditate, meditate. I have been doing it daily for more than 80 years, and I do not intend to stop. Each session continues to give me precious treasures that expand my understanding of eternal truth. Existence is too prodigious to be wasted on ephemeral banalities. Meditate, and you will see wonders. Now, continue sharing the third crucial pillar that has helped me enjoy such a long and blissful existence. We have already seen the crucial importance of a diet based on whole vegetables and unprocessed products to adequately nourish this body vehicle. Also, go deeper into the benefits that cultivating daily meditation has brought me for more than 8 decades, which has expanded my consciousness, awakened clairvoyant intuitions, and, above all, generated serene joy that is unbreakable in the face of any circumstance. Well, the third fundamental pillar that I would like to share with you is the regular practice of moderate exercise, especially conscious walks in the middle of nature. Since the first years of my stay in the Buddhist monastery back in the 40s until today, not a single day has passed without me dedicating at least an hour to walking mindfully, that is, attentively, around the surroundings from the monastery. Whether it was sun, wind, rain, or snow, I have never wanted to excuse myself from the sacred habit of going out to stretch my legs and oxygenate body, mind, and spirit. Thanks to such a simple practice, and even now at more than 100 years old, I continue to dedicate my daily hour to walking with firm and contemplative steps in my beloved places. That is, with the help of a wooden cane that I myself crafted from a very young age. I felt a special fascination for the majesty of the mountains that surround the monastery. The purity of the air, the silence only broken by the song of the birds, the steep snow-capped peaks inviting me to climb them, the lush forests brimming with wildlife. It was as if nature was calling me to connect with it on a deeper level. So, little by little, I traced several circular routes of different lengths that today I know like the palm of my hand. The other monks and I call them pilgrimage paths, and each one has a special name: Path of the Hummingbird, Path of the Wise Owl, Path of the Wise Bear, evocative names to evoke the magic so many times experienced in them. The shortest is the Path of the Hummingbird, about 5 kilometers, ideal for especially cold or rainy days. It winds gracefully up the hill, passing through a bamboo grove, where I can often admire hummingbirds hanging on the flowers. Then it crosses a meadow of wild poppies whose intense crimson confirms for me the eternal promise of hope. Longest and without a doubt my favorite is the Wise Owl Trail, about 12 kilometers. It has many ups and downs, passes through steep slopes and shady hollows, fords a couple of frozen streams, and culminates with a steep climb towards a rock called Eagle Watchtower, from where the panoramic view of the valley at sunset takes your breath away. On one occasion, I was able to see a huge eagle owl perched there majestically, hence the evocative name. Whatever the path, the key is to travel it with full consciousness and presence, step by step, inhalation by inhalation, in deep communion with the elements. I do not wear headphones or any device that distracts me. My attention is focused on the here and now, the firmness of the footsteps, the soft breeze caressing the face, the crunch of the leaves under the sandals, the distant song of a cuckoo, each sense sharpened to perceive the symphony of life. This contemplative and meditative quality that permeates the walk makes it much more than mere physical exercise. It is a spiritual communion with the forces of nature, a synchronization of my vibrational frequency with that of Mother Earth. Through attentive presence walking, my consciousness merges with the consciousness of forests, mountains, and rivers. Other body practices that I cultivate regularly are Tai Chi and Qigong, ancient Chinese movement systems focused on enhancing and balancing the vital energy that the Easterners call Qi with gentle gestures. Slow and harmonious, ideal for older people, they activate the circulation of that energy through the meridians of the body, conferring great physical flexibility and mental calm. I also dedicate at least half an hour a day to stretching all the muscles before and after the walk to keep their elasticity intact: quadriceps, twins, triceps, trapezius, lumbar. At first, I felt everything was very heavy and tense, but over the years, it has become as elastic and flexible as when I was young. I can even touch the tips of my feet with my palms without barely bending my knees. In this way, thanks to the daily practice of meditative walks in the middle of nature complemented with Qigong, Tai Chi, and stretching, I have managed to preserve not only an agile, elastic, and strong body but, above all, a lucid and clear mind and an exultant spirit of joy at the miracle of being alive. Smiling at the sun or the moon, feeling the caress of the wind, and listening to the murmur of the stream confer a sensation of unparalleled plenitude in this blessed era of Aquarius that is dawning, marked by the return to nature and the awakening of consciousness on a planetary scale. My greatest desire as a centennial monk is to inspire other people to also adopt as an integral part of their routine going for a daily walk with full attention. No long distances or prior physical preparation are necessary, but simply the firm determination to put on some sneakers and start walking without haste, enjoying each step and each landscape. and each breath as if it were the first time, at the pace that each one can, but persevering day after day. Even if you live in a big city, look for parks or gardens where you can connect with nature while you walk. And if you don't have time for long walks, with only 5 or 10 minutes a day, you will notice improvements. The important thing is the regularity and the contemplative attitude, not how far or fast you go. Step by step. Everything comes like this. After healthy eating and meditation, the third key pillar of my blissful longevity has undoubtedly been walking daily in full communion with Mother Nature. Thanks to this simple but powerful practice, I have maintained an agile body and a serene mind for more than 100 years. You are encouraged to discover the advantages of conscious walking. To encourage you more in this purpose, I researched various studies by scientists who corroborate the extraordinary benefits for comprehensive health of regularly going for a walk in direct contact with natural elements such as trees, streams, mountains, etc. For example, a large study carried out with 120,000 adults and published in 2018 in the prestigious British Journal of Medicine discovered that only 20 to 30 minutes a day of light exercise in nature, walking, running, cycling, reduced the risk of early mortality from any cause by an incredible 30%. Another large 10-year study with almost 3 million participants found that 2.5 hours of exercise per week in contact with natural green spaces reduced the risk of developing mental problems such as stress, anxiety, or depression by an astonishing 60%. This is how powerful it is to walk regularly in nature. As if this were not enough, another research published in 2020 monitored almost 50,000 habitual walkers and discovered that those who walked at a calm meditative pace, paying full attention to their natural environment without haste or stress, reduced the risk of mortality by 50% compared to those who walked at an accelerated and distracted pace, literally aging and dying sooner due to the rush. These and many other studies convincingly demonstrate what my life experience of more than 100 years also certifies. Walking daily in a contemplative way in direct contact with parks, mountains, lakes, beaches, forests, or any natural environment that we can has enormous benefits for our overall health and longevity. Therefore, why wait to put on our sneakers and greet the morning sun? We may not be able to change certain external conditions, but it is in our hands to give ourselves 20 or 30 minutes of well-being, inspiration, and inner stillness, walking consciously surrounded by the grace of nature. It will be worth it. 80 years walking like this every day, and I don't plan to stop until this body returns to dust. If you want to accompany me on the path of the wise owl, to share impressions and motivate each other, I am available at 7 every morning at the west entrance of the 3 pillars of the monastery. The 3 pillars that we have already talked about are nutrition based on whole foods, preferably vegetables, fruits, vegetables, cereals, legumes, nuts, etc., a daily cultivation of meditative practices to quiet the mind and expand our consciousness beyond the ego, and the lasting habit of contemplative walks in the middle of nature to maintain an agile and serene body, mind, and spirit. Well, the 4th crucial pillar that I would like to highlight as the support of my more than 100 years lived in an optimal state of health and mental clarity is the sense of purpose and selfless service to my fellow human beings, leading a life with meaning focused on sharing my innate gifts to help those who need help. That has always been my existential compass and the greatest source of joy and fulfillment. Since my entry as a novice to the Buddhist monastery, I quickly connected with a vehement desire to take advantage of that special opportunity for intense learning, to later be able to transmit those spiritual teachings to the outside world. I felt that my true mission was outside and not among those mountains. So, over the years and thanks to internal preparation through the aforementioned practices of meditation, study of sacred texts, and cultivation of virtues such as compassion, integrity, equanimity, and persevering dedication, I matured a growing desire to later be able to share with other thirsty seekers all that wealth of treasured wisdom. Although I must recognize that the peaceful monastic life in such an idyllic mountainous place invited us to stay and enjoy such a serene existence of contemplative bliss away from the madding crowd, I always held firm within me that youthful desire to one day be able to return to civilization to put my gifts at the service of those who needed them most, as a humble emissary of light among the shadows of the world. Thus passed. For 3 decades, living as a monk among those blessed mountains and feeling sufficiently mature and prepared internally to face the challenge of my venerable teachers, I undertook the definitive return to civilization with a heart filled with compassion and saddlebags full of hopeful spiritual advice to share. How much they were missing when I arrived in the capital and saw the frenetic pace of life. All the hustle and bustle and long faces full of resentment and severity. I knew that my vocation of service, helping to cultivate inner peace among so many raging mental storms, would be even more necessary than in times like this. The modern soul thirsts for the liberating truth. Quickly, given my fame as the centenarian monk far from the world, I began to receive all kinds of requests to give talks, workshops, conferences, consultancies, interviews on radio and television. However, faithful to the principles learned, I only accepted specific commitments for a fee, only the minimum to cover my expenses. I have never tried to get rich at the cost of sharing some that, strictly speaking, were transmitted to me free of charge by my teachers, nor did I seek any personal fame because the authentic wise men never flaunt their luminous credentials. The truth does not need petulant spokespersons to be promoted. She herself makes her way through who transformed her ego to become a humble and crystalline channel of timeless teachings, without ever appropriating them as her own. So, with simplicity, transparency, discretion, and a pinch of that charismatic humor in me, they quickly began to proliferate everywhere. My books, videos, advice, reflections always focused on sharing my learnings to inspire others to assume greater responsibility for the creation of their lives through wise and constructive habits. I always emphasize that happiness and joy depend 80 or 90% on our decisions and daily habits, while only 10 or 20% is determined by external factors that we do not control. Therefore, I emphasize again and again the crucial importance of taking care of nutrition, meditating daily even if it is only 20 minutes, walking in the middle of nature to balance ourselves, and cultivating positivity in the face of adversities of life. Above all, I stress the incorporation of activities of selfless service into our routine, such as volunteering for social and ecological causes that improve the world. In this way, thanks to always maintaining that firm purpose and motivation of sharing whatever wisdom and experience I could to help others alleviate their suffering and find inner happiness, those gifts of mine of moving writing, inspiring oratory, and unusual empathy that makes me connect easily with all types of people have been able to bear extraordinary fruit, conferring a deep existential meaning to my more than 100 years of life. Synthesizing the fourth pillar that sustains my enviable, lucid, and joyful longevity is none other than leading a life of generous service guided by a sense of transcendental mission to share liberating spiritual truths and wise habits so that others benefit by reducing anxiety and improving all spheres of life. Existence has been my greatest joy and meaning in life, to be able to contribute with my small grain of sand from humility, discretion, detachment, and humor so that other beings can also illuminate their lives and alleviate their inner hardships. Starting by transforming beliefs limiting and adopting constructive habits in the physical, mental, and spiritual, when I receive news from very grateful readers who have radically improved their relationships or overcome depression or resolved childhood traumas thanks in large part to applying my teachings on meditation, optimism, personal responsibility, and healthy habits. That is the greatest gift that life can bestow, to know that this elderly centennial monk, thanks to his firm will to serve as a humble source of inspiration, has been able to genuinely contribute to alleviating the mental and spiritual suffering of many seekers yearning for light in this era of so much confusion. That is the greatest trophy, the greatest medal, the greatest award for a career dedicated entirely to sowing with unconditional love the most sublime of seeds. That is why today, having already passed the 100 springs, I feel happier, fulfilled, and at peace with myself, the same as at no other time in my long existence. And it is not because I have achieved fame, fortune, or worldly comforts. They have never interested me at all. I have always lived very simply. It is simply because of the deep inner satisfaction of knowing that I have gone through my time trying to give the best, maximum possible of living to selflessly serve my human sisters and brothers by candidly and humbly sharing that legacy of wisdom, temperance, and compassion that my venerable teachers one day also deposited in me. Who sows love, reaps love. Who lights a candle in the darkness never walks alone. Like this, as an essential fourth pillar in the search for a prolonged existence with true transcendental meaning, I encourage you to ask yourself with total honesty, what is your mission of service to the world from your talents and unique circumstances? How can you selflessly help others to lead a life more inspired and happier? It is not necessary to be a learned monk or a millionaire. To bring light where there are only shadows, every human being can contribute with small daily actions carried out with love in the here and now. A word of encouragement, a compassionate gesture, a moment of company, listening without judge, thanks to you, the world will be a better place. Let's get to work. Well, meticulously detailing the fifth crucial pillar that, together with the previous four, forms the basis of my exceptional longevity. Enjoying physical plenitude and mental clarity with more than 100 years lived, said four core pillars we have covered are impeccable natural nutrition based on whole, unprocessed plant foods, daily mental training through meditation to expand consciousness and awaken our limitless intrinsic potentialities, cultivating mindful walking and other healthy body practices in full communion with nature, and fundamentally leading a life guided by a higher purpose of loving service to our fellow human beings from our innate abilities and talents. Well, another basic pillar, perhaps not as obvious but just as important as those already mentioned, is the continuous cultivation of thoughts, words, markedly positive actions, and expectations in the face of the inevitable vicissitudes and ups and downs that this path called life has in store for us. I am referring to developing and maintaining an optimistic, hopeful, and favorable mental attitude with respect to ourselves and the various circumstances that we will have to face. As you well know, life does not follow a flat path exclusively marked with roses, applause, health, and success. All of us, without exception, have to go through stages of darkness in which we will step on more thistles than flowers, and in which some of our expectations will be temporarily frustrated pain, loss, failures, breakups, unwanted changes, illnesses, death of loved ones. All of this is an inherent part of the vast kaleidoscope of existence. Faced with that irrefutable certainty, we basically have two options: resist vigorously the inevitable and try to manipulate each circumstance to our capricious whim, accumulating anger and resentment when reality does not bend to our stubborn will to control, or, on the contrary, meekly assume that life has its cycles like the seasons and that we can force little when the harsh winter blows or the thunder of the storm rumbles. During my long decades of life experience and learning, I have been able to confirm time and time again that those who adopt that second conciliatory and not at all arrogant attitude of accepting with equanimity the inevitable existential ups and downs, flowing flexibly like bamboo in the face of the onslaught of the hurricane instead of offering frontal resistance, usually endure these dark phases with much more inner calm and less emotional turbulence, and even emerge strengthened and enriched from those setbacks. On the contrary, those who fight valiantly, trying to manipulate at their whim each slightly uncomfortable experience that is presented to them, revealing themselves furious at what should not be, end up exhausted, resentful of life, and fed up with themselves after seeing for the umpteenth time how little we can shape external circumstances with our stubborn individual will. The psychophysical wear and tear that this causes is immense, so, as old-fashioned as I am, I always used to express it through a simple and powerful mantra that I ardently repeated to myself in the moments of greatest adversity and suffering: everything will be fine in the end. And if it is still not fine, it is because it is not yet the end. When I sense it, I know it in the depths of my soul. Life never disappoints. With that powerful seed of unbreakable optimism as a lighthouse interior in the face of any inclemency, and avoiding feeding toxic thoughts, vain expectations, and malicious words about myself or about what I should be, I have managed to transmute even the fiercest storms into valuable learning that ended up enormously strengthening my resilience and my faith in the infinite perfection of the cosmos, even when my mind could not understand it in those hells of total darkness. Therefore, unwaveringly maintaining positive thoughts, words, and expectations even in the face of the greatest adversities has been essential to fully prosper all these years. I will not deny that there were very hard times, hours of ferocious inner storm where one did not conceive that it was possible to see the light again beyond that closed and impenetrable enveloping darkness. More precisely, those tremendous crises were the ones that taught me the most. There, where everything seemed to irremediably collapse, opening up beneath my feet a black, bottomless abyss, I discovered to my astonishment that when I touched mud after descending into hell, it was because the time had come to begin to ascend step by trembling step. Yes, even in those horrible trances, there were moments, tiny intervals where I glimpsed hopes of dawn after the endless dark night, and I clung to them desperately like a flash of light in the middle of a storm. Those fleeting flashes of positive intention that were faintly indicating the exit route from the supposed labyrinth without escape. So if you are also immersed in one of those long seasons where it only rains on wet and it seems that the problems and the sins viciously attack your battered soul, resist. Do not let yourself be overwhelmed. Know that you are much greater than any challenge you think you are facing. Your spirit is invincible when it aligns vibrationally with the inexhaustible source of everything that exists. No matter how hard the conditions may seem, external conditions right now, be certain that they are nothing more than passing mirages, shadows that we project with our minds conditioned by countless previous lives. If we offer love to each shadow instead of trying to destroy it, we will understand that it is nothing but another face of the diamond of our eternal spirit. Everything is in ourselves. So, more optimism and more confidence in the infinite wisdom that governs everything. Everything always happens in perfect divine order. When it seems that the cosmos conspires against us, the pieces are actually aligning for a quantum leap in our consciousness. Allow life to surprise you. The greatest blessings usually come camouflaged as a crisis, so unwaveringly maintain positive thoughts, words, and expectations even in the darkest moments. Everything passes, everything is transformed. The only constant is the eternal spirit that we are. Identify with it instead of with the murky waters of the conditioned mind. Always dawn after the darkest of nights. We have so much to thank life for.